So this is Baruch Fleischman, and this is a shtickle of the Zohar Kodesh that a friend of mine in Rashi sent to me. And I think it's so significant for the time that we live now because of the situation of the Jews and the Arabs, to really understand the pneumius of what's going on here. In this little piece here, it really tells you the secret of the war between Yishmael, Arabs, Muslims, and the Jews. So it starts like this. I'll do the best I can because I'm very excited about saying it because it's so apropos to this time. Bahare Yolda Sarah gave birth, rather, I'm sorry. Achakach v'choyelo ben geza kadosh, and then she would have, let's take a different phrase. She gave birth, then achakach, but it was after that. Hoyelo ben geza kadosh, that she would have a child that would actually grow up to be a holy man. Omalo. He said to her, Ata roe, va'ani roe. You see and I see. Now, exactly how this translates, I'm not sure. V'kach shemati bepiv shel Rebbe Shimon ha'inyan. So this, I actually heard this from the mouth of Rebbe Shimon himself to try to explain the secret of what's going on between the Arabs and the Jews. But I cry when I hear this. Woe to that time. Because Sarah was delayed in giving birth. She was 90 years old when she gave birth. She didn't have a child. So the pasuk says, Sarah el Abram. So Sarah then said to Abram, he said, etc., etc., Bo nal el shivchasi. Go live with my maidservant. Because of that, she said to Abraham, what she said to Abraham, then this time worked out, this is the time for Hagar. Hagar, the rest is what was she going to do? She was going to inherit everything from Sarah Gebirta, who was her mistress and her superior. And she wound up having a child from Abraham. Abraham Omalo Lu Yishmoel Yichya the Fanecha. And Abba said this bracha for him, let Yishmoel, which means really hear God, hear the kindness of God. He said, Lu Yichya Yishmoel Yichya the Fanecha. Lu Yishmoel Yichya the Fanecha should live before you. At the time he said this, that Hashem was telling him, you're going to have another son from Sarah. His name's going to be Yitzchak. His Davik Abraham b'Yishmael, but Abraham continued to cling to Yishmael. So until Hashem comes back and says to him, I heard you about Yishmael. And he goes on to say that Yishmael will have these blessings. And then after that, they were gemalt. They circumcised. V'niknaz b'bris hakodesh. They entered into the holy bris. He entered into the holy bris. Ad shelo yotzi Yitzchak la'olam. And this all happened before Yitzchak was born. Now, the significance of this is really the whole secret. Is that Yishmael, he said, Achar kach nimo. Yishmael was gemalt. They took the bris from him. It's a sexual sign. The niknas b'bris hakodesh, and he entered into the holy bris. Ad shelo yatzel Yitzchak la'olam, before Yitzchak was ever born. So he said, "U'bebohu v'recha arba meir shanim amad hasar haku shel b'nei Yishmael." 400 years stood the ministering angel, that is the main pipeline from the infinite one to us. The angel, that pipeline, stood before Hashem for 400 years on behalf of Yishmael. He bikashed in the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he sought from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Amalo. So he said to him, Mi shenimol yesh lo chele b'shemcha. He says, a person who was gemalt, who was circumcised, and pledged to guard his sexuality, hayesh lo chelek b'shemcha, does he have a portion in your name? Amalohain, he says, yes, he does. Amalo v'harech Yishmael shenimel mipnei ma ein lo chelek b'cho. So he said Yishmael because of why he was a gemalt, and why is it that he doesn't have a portion with you? Kamod Yitzchak, just like Yosef, you say Yitzchak has got the portion. What about Yishmael? Amalo Yitzchak nimo karoi v'kitikuna says that Yitzchak is different. He really did a complete and total circumcision. There are two different layers that need to be removed. Ukitikuna was everything was done right. But this one, Einu Kain, he only took one layer. In other words, Yishmael wants to be Kadosh, but he's not quite there. Not only that, Ella she'elu nivgav Ella she'elu nidbakim be karoi, that if it was able to cling to me properly, the shmona yomim, it has to be done like that. So I got to go over that phrase again because I read it poorly, and I really apologize for that. It's not that good. Ella she'elu nidbakim bi karoi. This one, he means Yitzchak. He is clinging to the purity, sexual purity that I desire. Karoi, which takes place on Shlosha Shmona Yomim. Ve'elu rechoki b'menach ad kama yomim, and they're very distant. They're distant. So he says, im kol zecha b'kever shenimel, but even so that it's not the same level of purity. But he was gemalt. He was willing to do that, and he was at a later age. Ha'im lo yihye lo schar tov b'chavor zeh, shouldn't he have some good reward because of this? Vai al osar zman, woe to that time. Shenolad Yishmael b'olam v'nimo, that Yishmael was born into the world and he was circumcised. Ma asa Kodesh Baruch Hu, what did the Kodesh Baruch Hu do? Hirkik as b'nei Yishmael mahdavekus al yoina, he pushed Yishmael away from the real clinging, the real oneness that's the highest possible level. And they gave him a portion down here below in the world. Now some of this is on very dark print. It's obvious it was taken from a photo. And so I'll do the best I can. So he said, so he also would have a portion in the Holy Land, it's Israel. Because of that Milah that took place there. Now let's go to the darker place and see what I can do with it. And it's going to be in the future. Now this is something that was written 2,000 years ago. Maybe I should have said that at the very beginning. So the future will be that the Yishmael will have control over the Holy Land, in a time when it's empty of Jews. Mikol Zaman Rabba, and all of this whole time, just like the Milah that they have is not complete. It's empty. It's missing the real foreskin that had to be removed. Its Reikon is Beli Shlemos, it has not complete. Vehem Ya'akvo as B'nai Yisrael Melashuv the Makom, and it will hold back the B'nai Yisrael to go back to their place. In other words, return to our land. We've been on a long trip. Ad Shetichla Osach HaZchus, until that merit of the partial removement of the foreskin. Ad Shetichla Osach HaZchus shall B'nai Yishmael, until the end of the time when the merit of the B'nai Yishmael will be finished. Vasida B'nai Yishmael la'oirecha melchomas, and then it says this prophecy. Vasida B'nai Yishmael, the B'nai Yishmael are destined la'orel melchomas azakos ba'oilim, to bring out tremendous wars into this world. B'nai Edom, and all the B'nai Edom, we're talking here about the Westerners, called the Westerners, or also the European. B'nai Edom aleichem, they will gather together, the B'nai Edom, the Europeans will start fighting them, and they will arouse war with them. Achas al Hayam, there will be a war on the sea. V'achas al Yavosha, and one of on the dry land. V'achas Samach l'Yerushalayim, and one will be near Yerushalayim. V'yishlatu Eila be'Eila, and they will take control one past the other. They go back and forth. Ve'eretz HaKadusha lo timasa de b'nei Adam. But one thing that we know is that the land, the holy land, Eretz Yisrael, will never be given over to the Bnei Adam. That is the Europeans. That is the Christians. So let me read this carefully. So at this time, Yisorer will be aroused Am Echad Misof Olam, from the end of the world. Al Romi, which means Europe, Christianity. Al Romi HaRosh Rosho, all this high, lofty Roman world, this evil Rome, V'yilochem bam, Shlosh Chadashim, they'll fight him for 3 months. V'yisaspo Shama Amim V'yipluch B'dehem, and you'll gather together all kinds of people, and they will fall into their hands. Until all of the Europeans, all of Christianity, will be gathered up. Let's say the words unto it, or to it, up to it. Let's say until they gather, all of the Bnei Adam will gather together. They'll all be gathered together. When this happens, Kodesh Baruch Hu will have tremendous Rahmanas Alehem. Zecher she'amach hakasav ki zevach la'Hashem b'batzra. And this last part really needs, for me, more explanation. I know this word batzra appears in the songs of the Shalashudas. Exactly what it means. Batzra is a place in Iraq, in the Tigris-Euphrates area. It also has the word Sarah in it. So his words were, V'oz yis'orach HaKodesh Baruch Hu Aleichem, HaKodesh Baruch Hu will be aroused onto them, have arousal on them. And that's what it says, Akasav ki zevach la'Hashem ba'batzra. Then after, what is it written? La'achaz b'kanfos ha'aretz, to grab hold of the corners, the wings of the world. V'yachnis, and then Yishmacha b'mena, and cut Yishmael off completely from the world. V'yishaber kol hasara shalamala, and all of the ruling channels of life from up above. That's the sarim, the princes. That's the words they use. They'll all be broken. Below Yeshoyer koich lamala l'sarei umas olam, there will be no strength. No, which means this, that the pipelines, that the pathways of Shefa that come from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu will be broken. Below Yeshoyer koich lamala, there won't be any strength up above. L'sarei umas olam, for those pipelines, those angels, the prince angels, who are the pipelines. Ela kocham shal yisrael levado. The only koach will be the koach of the mazel of the Jews. This is the Zohar a long time ago. Va'al hazman alku kasav. This pasuk, ki oz epoch ela amim, I will turn upside down to the nations. Safa barura, a pure lip, a pure voice, l'kro kulu b'shem Hashem, that all of them should be able to call out to the name of Hashem, la'avdo shem echad, as one nation, as one people. Because of b'yom malchu yihi Hashem echad u'shmo echad, and that's what it says, all oneness will start to come about. Baruch Hashem la'olam, amen v'amen. Nice little piece of Torah. I hope I did as well as I could at this time. This is Baruch Flashman, Tikkun Elevator Kola.